Hello viewers, I'm Red2006 and I'm very pleased to have you join me on the latest leg of our scenic tour through the Johto region in Pokemon Gold version. As a quick recap on our last day's adventuring, I stumbled upon a secret spot and then botched a battle with a Starmie. My attempts to sneak past everyone on Route 38 failed, but I made it to Moo Moo Farm and helped heal their Miltank. We're taking on the rest of the battles on routes 38 and 39 today. Welcome back everyone. Hope you've been enjoying this lovely pastoral scene. Miltank's grazing happily, and there are items located around here in the remake. Quite a peaceful spot. But let's work our way back and battle the trainers. It's time for Mercy to get some experience. Now he's a school kid. You can't really recognise which one they are. No, he is a psychic. I was right first time. I said he was a psychic in the previous episode, but I'm surprised they had the same music as the school kids. And I'm used to calling them school kids because of later games, so bear with me on that. Anyway, good experience for Mercy nonetheless. She'll catch up pretty quickly. Route 38 and 39 lead down to Olivine City. Quite a lovely location. It's not quite as forested as some of the places we've been to, probably because it's close to the ocean. But nonetheless, it's an enjoyable place to be. It's sort of the grassy plains area as such. Because you have your farm nearby, you've got the ocean nearby. It would be a very, very enjoyable place to just sort of take a walk. Just relax, take in the scenery. See if Surf finishes it off. And it does. So let's work our way back and battle some opponents. I think you have to get this guy's number if you want to catch Snubble. They're easy to find in the remakes. Chad has Mr. Mime. Can be a useful Pokemon but has very low HP. It had pretty good special, but that was changed to become its special defense. Reasonably fast though. Alright, hit it with Surf. I have to admit, I did greatly enjoy Mr. Mime's appearance in Detective Pikachu. It was a lot of fun. It actually shows how creative Mime can be. If you've got a bit of imagination and good skills with body language, it can be a pretty good art, but they're sort of punching bags. Mimes tend to be acceptable targets for some reason. So we'll hold on to Chad's number just in case he is the person we need to talk to about Snubble. Either way, should give good experience in a rematch. And we can wander in here. That's the way it goes, isn't it? You're about to talk to a beauty and something ridiculous happens to interrupt you. In that case, it was a Rattata. So, Valerie has Hoppip. And Skiploom, I believe. Fairly fragile, so there shouldn't be too much trouble. Oh, just held on. Tackle. Kind of unfortunate that's all you got. They're much better in the remakes. And that is, of course, something I'm tempted to find. Yes, the remakes are miles better. This still has its charm. The sprites still look pretty good. And you can get the sense of what they were trying to convey. But at the same time it's not as distinct, it's not as unique. You can tell that the mechanics have been changed so much that everything has improved from where they were in Gold and Silver, that the old games do seem outdated. I mean, these were massive improvements on Red and Blue. They did need some improvements, and they were good games in their own right. Many of the glitches actually came from the clever programming shortcuts used to fit a game of that size on the cartridges. What does Ralph want? He wants a rematch. Well, we can tack that on to the end of this episode. Is there an item down here? Nope. But yes, as I was saying, there were lots of programming shortcuts taken in order to get Red and Blue to have everything fit on the cartridge. They were pretty good games overall, but they did have major glitches. There was a lack of memory protection involved, so the game could pull up all sorts of random things because of its need to reuse various values. It's why you've got things like the Mew glitch, why things like Missing No show up, and why, if you're extremely careful, you can pull off glitches that basically allow you to recode the game, have it play as something else entirely like Pong, and they'll still keep going. I mean, not to say they didn't have legitimate flaws. The special stat issue was one thing, the types weren't balanced particularly well, that was a major issue, and a few moves still had glitches along the way. Gold and Silver refined so much, but they do show their age, I'm afraid. They are still kind of fun to play, but the remakes do blow them out of the water, really. Though it is worth noting, you need those games that make mistakes. Like, it doesn't matter, in my eyes anyway, if something is old and shows its age, because basically it's the foundations. What it got right, you keep, and you keep working with that to make it as good as it can. What it got wrong, you look at it, and you improve from there. So, we don't improve if we don't have those mistakes in Red and Blue, really. I discussed this in a link to the past randomizer, and I still feel strongly about it that, yes, there are games that are still rather outdated these days, but what they did at the time was spectacular. And you have to take that into context. Anyway, all that aside, another opponent to finish off. I can use Surf on it, I don't have to worry about water absorb. But Body Slam is fine. So that's everyone in this area. I'll heal Mersey and I will meet you back at the farm. Okay, so from this intersection here, you want to head to the south because that will lead us to Olivine City. A few opponents remain. And you can understand why people want to brag about their Pokemon. He has Pikachu, and many people would be proud of that. Unfortunately for Pikachu, Mersey will be a bit much for it to handle. I think you can get his number, but I'm not going to fuss about that. With limited space, you do have to keep track of things. And I'm not sure about the syntax of that sentence. It makes sense, but together at the same time, it sounds a little redundant. It sounds like a tautology. But I have to admit, I'm a bit nitpicky when it comes to grammar. I don't like making mistakes myself, and I'm prone to picking out things in newspapers and the like. It's essentially what I studied in, but I do have to temper it because when you start picking on people's mistakes and things, even though you can have the best intentions and you're trying to help, you will generally be accused of being a nosy bastard. Or just flat out obnoxious. So edit with caution. Hollywood, interesting. We will be encountering its evolved form later on. I've chosen to go this way because it is sort of the default direction. You can, if you want, head to the east. However, the level curve is very low as a result of that. I think I mentioned it earlier, but it would be nice if, for example, you choose one way, then they shut the other way off for some reason, and you get higher level Pokemon when you come back. It would just sort of sharpen things up, maybe improve the levels of the gyms a little bit. Well, I'll keep with Mersey for the time being. I will have to go back and get Krabby by Rock Smashing. And hopefully Shuckle. You can acquire a Shuckle through different means, but I want to catch one of my own. It's almost a matter of personal pride at this point. So, we have defeated Sailor Eugene, and I think it's a good time to go and catch some Pokemon. There's one more I want to find. Okay, we found Raticate instead. I'll at least try to catch this, but I can stock up on Pokeballs or Great Balls in Olivine City. Nope, Mersey knocked it out. Oh well, that reminds me to go and stock up, doesn't it? I'll do some catching off screen. Though in fairness, I do at least want to show off the Pokemon because there is one I've planned a spotlight for. Oh wait, hang on. And it's the Ginger again. You again? There's no need to panic. I don't bother with wimps like you. You're getting your ass kicked 3 times. You should have learned your lesson by now. Don't tell him that I haven't. Speaking of weaklings, the city's gym leader isn't here. Supposedly taking care of a sick Pokemon in the lighthouse. Huh. Boo-hoo. Just let sick Pokemon go. A Pokemon that can't battle is worthless. Why don't you go train at the lighthouse? Who knows? It may make you a bit less weak. A lot of big talk for a guy who's had his ass kicked 3 times now. But welcome to Olivine City. Let's take a quick tour. You can see the gym back up here. There's some beautiful bunting hung up in the area in the remakes. Just adds a little bit of extra colour to the scene as such. Makes it look a bit more festive, like people are really proud of where they live, and it is a nice place. We have a house here, and we can speak to a fisherman. We get the good rod. We have a much better variety of Pokemon to catch. We've got Pokemon and Pokemon Center in proximity. Over here is the diner. Or at least it's meant to be anyway. Speak to this sailor, and we will get the HM for strength, and we can use it. He's got a point. The sea can be very capricious. It can be very beautiful, but there is always danger involved. Down here is the port. You can go fishing around the main city and the port to catch some new Pokemon. You can find Chinchou here, and it's one of my favourite Pokemon. And this building is the lighthouse. Yep, it's the lighthouse. I'm used to the remakes. I'm honestly used to the remakes, and it's like, it's got to be the lighthouse. It just looks so odd. So, talk to this guy, and you can trade Krabby for Voltorb. I sadly don't have Krabby, friend. Don't worry, I'll see what I can do. And there's just another house here. And this guy will tell you about 4 islands along the way to Cinewood City. They are the Whirl Islands. They will be important in either version, but especially so if you're playing Silver. So let's duck in here, grab some Great Balls, and worth noting, you can also get Super Repels here. They are the most cost-effective of the repels. Max Repels only add 50 more steps, but they cost a bit more. So let's get back to adventuring so I can find that Pokemon for my spotlight. Okay, after 4 consecutive Rattata, I found something and it wasn't quite what I'm looking for. But this is Farfetch'd, which you can finally catch in the wild. And it's still not worth it. I'm going to catch it for the principle of the thing, but honestly it's not a great Pokemon to use. It's got a little better in later generations, with its signature item, the Stick, boosting its critical rate, and it had a bit of an attack buff in Generation 6 as well. It can be used as a fairly potent critical machine, but that's still not much because its attack is base 90. At best. 65 in this generation. It's ordinary. Although it is being particularly annoying to catch. 1 sand attack and your accuracy goes out the window. 2 and you're not hitting anything. Okay. So things have gone fairly badly. I still haven't learned. I still have not learned. So let's switch to Ruby and I'll just maybe try and catch it. Well, I'll heal Torture, bring him back out, and then we can try. I think what I need to do is catch Paris, get it up to a high level so it learns Spore, and make sure it has False Swipe. I think it can get False Swipe in this generation. Parasect is actually very good for catching Pokemon. It kind of sucks otherwise. It must know what I'm doing. It must know. Okay, we're in range. All this for an absolute booby prize. It's essentially a pun on a Japanese saying, a duck comes bearing leeks, or something like that. Which is essentially our equivalent of there's a sucker born every minute. Nope, it is not cooperating. I probably have to put a status effect on it. I have to put it to sleep, but then again it's going to give Sunny a lot of trouble. This just reminds me of why I like playing at night, because Dusk Balls are incredibly reliable. It's always the ones I rag on. It's always the ones I'm adamant are terrible that give me the most trouble. Okay, well let's see if Sunny can survive being pecked. Oh, thank you, Sunny. There we go. The odd thing is, why was Sunny faster than it? Farfetch'd, the wild duck Pokemon. If anyone tries to disturb where the essential plant sticks grow, it uses its own stick to thwart them. And now I have to go and search for the one Pokemon I want to show off. It's about time. I was wandering through the grass not actually finding anything. It's always the way. When you want to find something, you will not run into any Pokemon. But this is Magnemite. And now that we've set that up, let's cut to the spotlight before I forget.
Magnemite happens to be one of my favourite electric-type Pokemon, and on top of that it's also very dependable. It has a particularly strong defensive typing, offering 12 resistances and 1 immunity. Only 4 types, prior to Generation 6, could hit it for normal or better damage. Right from the outset, Magnemite can hit very hard. Base 95 special attack means its electric moves will be doing a lot of damage. Unfortunately for the line, up until Generation 4 they don't have access to a lot of great moves outside of TMs, so that power can't be put to use very well, and they couldn't learn any damaging steel moves until Generation 4. Nonetheless, thanks to the incredible bulk granted to them by their typing, Magnemite is a very good option if you don't want to use the Mareep line, or if you're playing Crystal and you can't access it in the first place. It is worth noting though, that if you're using these Pokemon in the remakes, you will have to trade them over to the Sinnoh games, because there's nowhere in Johto that offers the necessary magnetic field for Magneton to evolve into Magnezone. That said, Magnezone isn't really necessary. Magneton can be better in later generations when it gets hold of the Eviolite. Overall, these Pokemon are definitely well worth using.
So, quickly switch to Sunny. Now Magnemite has a 10% chance of fleeing the battle, so if you still have your fastball, now's the time. Thankfully Hypnosis is coming through. And a bit of chip damage with Confusion. That did more than I thought. Would have just summed everything up if I'd managed to knock Magnemite out. Thankfully, we have it. Magnemite, the magnet Pokemon. It is attracted by electromagnetic waves. It may approach trainers if they are using their Pokegear. So, I do like using Magnemite. Oh wait, what does Wade want? Thank you, Wade. Yes, it reminds me that my game thinks it's a day ahead. So, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back and battle Fisher Ralph. That will wrap things up nicely. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you in the next instalment of our scenic tour through the Johto region. Please enjoy the bonus pack. Here we go. Has Ralph's team changed? One Pokemon. It is a slightly higher level. Shouldn't be much trouble for Sunny. Well, it does have Peck, but that's not doing heaps, and I can just suck out its HP with Leech Seed. And away we go. I'll have to work out what moves I want to give Sunny. I probably could have just used Confusion right from the outset. But there we go. I've just realised, since I'm here, I should see who in my party can learn Strength. Hey, Dash can learn it. Almost everyone in the party can learn it, but Dash is going to get the most out of it, so it will replace Headbutt for now. So, I will show off a couple of things we can do with Strength before we head off to the lighthouse. Thanks again, and I will see you in the next episode.